Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. Today I've got a little surprise, and by little I mean very little. I will be showing to you today the teeny tiny twin lens reflex Gemflex 1 from the 1950s. The Gemflex uses the same 17.5mm film as hit cameras, which were tiny novelty cameras sold alongside potato guns and sneezing powder in the novelty toy ads in boys' magazines between the 1950s and the 1970s. The name Hit is from one popular brand, though dozens of other brands made identical cameras. Now, not only do I have the camera, but I also actually have some expired film from the 50s. This Pancro Crystar or Crystar, I don't know how they pronounced that at the time. But this film is original Hit film from the 1950s, and I will be attempting to shoot this film in this camera. Now, this little pack, which is about the size of a pack of gum, held 6 rolls of film for this camera, so that gives you a sense of how big the film was for this camera. So there you have it. It's quite tiny. You can see just compared to the size of my thumb. So let's give it a shot and try to load this camera up. The first thing you'll notice, this camera is actually, even though it is quite tiny, it's quite full-featured for a twin lens camera. Now, it is fixed focus, so there's no focus adjustment, but it does have an adjustable shutter speed and adjustable aperture starting at f3.5. And the shutter speed even includes a bulb function, so 3 speeds, 25, 50, and 100 plus bulb. You push this button here on the side to release the viewfinder hood. Then you view through the viewfinder hood just like you would with a regular twin lens camera, although it is much smaller. And then to cock the shutter, you use this lever here, and then to release the shutter, you use this lever here. It's got a swinging back that opens up like this, just like a standard twin lens reflex. So let's try loading this film and see what happens. Okay, now in looking at the empty reel, and this is you're watching me load this for the very first time, so I've never quite looked at this before. I see there is a notched tip on one side and a plain tip on the other. So clearly the notched tip has to go into the side that has the winding knob, so I'll keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at this old film and see what we've got. Just wrapped in plain tinfoil, what appears to be tinfoil, or actually, ironically, it looks similar to gum wrapper, the inner wrapper of a stick of gum. I'm going to be a little bit gentle here just because this film is very likely from the 1950s, so it's quite old, and I want to make sure that I'm handling it accordingly. Okay, so there's the film. Inside it says SS Pan Film. So I'll take the paper wrapper off very gently. I'm afraid I'm going to unravel the actual film. Oh, here we go. Okay, the paper is off. You can see SS Pan Film. And I can see that the spool also has a wide slot on one side and narrow on the other. So going in through the wide slot side, I want to make sure I get it fairly centered, and then get a couple wraps on there. Not too far though, because I don't want to expose any of the film, of course. Then once I've got a couple wraps on there, now we will attempt to load this in. Wow, this is really tiny. And I am hoping I can get this to work. Okay, that didn't work. Let's pull it out and try again. Okay, so I've got the camera reset. Let's try this one more time. I want to get that down into the slot there. Okay. Oh, now I've got that loose again. Okay, this is turning out to be quite a bit more of a struggle than I thought. So I've managed to get the reel in. That took quite a bit of effort actually, mainly just because of the size. Now what I'm going to need to do is get the feed side loaded. Okay, I'm meeting some resistance here. And hopefully, wow, meeting a lot of resistance. Something's not quite right. Oh, I can see that it's not centered. Okay. Okay, believe it or not, I actually think I got it. Nope, spoke too soon. Okay, by some stroke of luck, I've managed to get the film reel loaded. Now I just have to get the leader started, and we will hopefully be in business. There we go. Okay, now, with fingers crossed, trying to hold both things at the same time. We'll get this started. Oh my, this is really difficult. This is incredibly difficult. Now, get a few winds on there to make sure it's not going to come off. I can see the arrows coming up, so I'll close the back. Wow. Okay, well that was quite a struggle, but I have managed to confirm in the back window that I have loaded the film correctly and I am ready to shoot image number 1. Okay, well, it should be pretty obvious that the film was not in great condition. Lots of degradation of the emulsion and a little bit of loss of sensitivity. So I think I'm going to try again, though. I actually enjoyed some of the results of this film. This one in particular I really liked. I like the character that the expired film gives to the image. But I think I need to make some adjustments in how I shoot the film and process it. So all in all, it was a fun little experiment with a little camera, and I'm looking forward to trying it again and showing you more results.